So, patriots, the police are on a manhunt for scammers, including a boyfriend who vanished with a Swane woman's 2.4 million rand pension payout. This has left her and her family in distress and deep financial trouble. Can you imagine that? You work your whole life, and in a blink, it's all gone because of some criminal's manipulation. The provincial police spokesperson confirmed that a case of theft has been opened at Hammanskraal police station, and they're hunting for this thief. Yet so far, no one has been arrested. It's truly heartbreaking. Now get this. This 57-year-old South African woman met this illegal immigrant in 2022. He introduced himself to her as Mark Kagame from Tanzania. She fell for him hook, line, and sinker, fully trusting this man. It's always the same old story, patriots. These women say South African men are stingy, lazy, and all sorts of insults. But then they turn around and give millions to these illegal immigrants. When she was asked about her relationship with this so-called Kagame, she said, "Because I wasn't in any relationship, he asked me out and I agreed. He told me he was from Tanzania and I said there was no problem." Imagine that, patriots. Looking back now, she realizes there were red flags, but love blinded her. He quickly pushed to be intimate with her right after the relationship started. She didn't even live with him, but she'd visit him at his place. They didn't take too many pictures together, probably for obvious reasons. He even met her youngest kids. But interestingly, whenever she invited him to her house, he wasn't keen on going inside. He'd always wait in the car. Suspicious, right? And yet, she ignored all of this. Then in 2023, as the romance heated up, Kagame told her she needed to meet his uncle. She recalls, "I went to meet the uncle at his home. He gave us food, and until today, I still wonder what was in that food." Now, this is where things start getting really strange, patriots. After the meal, they were taken into a so-called prayer room. She explains, "The uncle opened a drawer, and it was full of money. He said the ancestors had given it to me and that I should resign from my job. I didn't even question it. My mind wasn't working right." In that room, they were clapping hands and shouting "Father" repeatedly, and then suddenly, a mysterious voice started booming out from nowhere. It's strange how that voice knew her name and all the details of her life. This scammer played her like a violin. Patriots. She was told to resign from her job after that bizarre ritual, and the worst part is, she actually did. That's how deep she was into this. Patriots, this story isn't just about one woman losing her pension. It's a lesson for us all. These illegal immigrants come into our country pretending to be caring, loving partners, but they have ulterior motives, and the ones who fall for them end up paying the ultimate price. It's time we protect our people from these con artists who leave nothing but destruction in their wake. Now, patriots, can you believe this? This veteran school teacher was convinced that the money in the drawer amounted to 20 million rand in cash. After serving the government for 32 long years, she resigned from her job in September 2023, thinking she was in for a big payday. In March 2024, she received her 2.4 million rand pension lump sum deposited into her FNB account. But here's the kicker. Before the money even hit her account, the so-called ancestor's voice had already told her the exact date and amount in advance. You see, patriots, this isn't the first time we've heard of scams like this. Thousands of South African women have fallen victim to illegal immigrants. And let's not forget those stories where some of our sisters were given a mere 20 rand as lobola by Asian men buying citizenship, while others knew they were getting involved with married men. Yet, when it comes to South African men, these same women demand lobola worth 11 cows. But from foreigners, they're shelling out millions for love. This woman went on to say that it felt like she was possessed. The foreign uncle, before she even resigned, had told her not to tell her children about the pension payout. Instead, he demanded that he be the first to know. He even provided transport for her to come to his house regularly, where the talking ancestor would tell her what to do next. In March, she was summoned again, and that mysterious voice told her the exact date and amount of her pension payout. And guess what? It all happened exactly as they said. Now, patriots, I don't believe in magic or witchcraft, but I do believe these guys were highly skilled in twisting people's minds. If magic truly worked, Wouldn't they just use it at the bank to get the ATM to spit out cash? Let's be real, she was scammed. Plain and simple. The media hides her name because they know people would call her out for being fooled. This sounds like a propaganda machine at work. Just like if you keep telling South Africans that foreigners are here to create jobs, eventually, people will start believing it, even though we see with our own eyes that these foreigners are actually taking jobs. In my opinion, this woman wasn't bewitched. She's just too scared to admit she fumbled. If these foreigners really had magic powers, wouldn't they have robbed millions of South African men by now in the same way? No, patriots, it's all a scam, and she's embarrassed. But the story doesn't end there. She was then told to open additional bank accounts at Standard Bank and Absa. Every move she made was orchestrated by this foreign uncle and his crew. According to her, she was instructed to transfer 500,000 rand to each of the new bank accounts, while leaving the remaining amount with FNB. Her total pension payout was 2.4 million rand, but bit by bit, it was disappearing. The first bank they went to was FNB Jubilee Mall, and from there, they made trips to Grove Mall, Menlyn Park Mall, Hatfield, and North Park Mall in Pretoria North. Over several weeks, she would withdraw the money from each bank and hand it over to the uncle without questioning anything. Remember, patriots, this uncle is also an illegal immigrant. This poor woman was being led around like a puppet, draining her hard-earned pension into the hands of these scammers. But let's be clear, patriots, this isn't magic or witchcraft. This is pure, calculated manipulation from people who prey on the vulnerable. It's time for South Africans to wake up and stop falling for these tricks. We must protect ourselves and our fellow citizens from being used and discarded by illegal immigrants. Now, patriots, this South African woman shared more details about her heartbreaking ordeal. She said, "All this time, I was occasionally staying with the boyfriend. They told me I was withdrawing the money to cleanse it because I had bad luck. The uncle even told us to start looking for houses and cars that we were going to buy. He promised that after the cleansing, the money would be deposited back into my account and even into my children's accounts," she explained. It's incredible how these scammers played on her trust and manipulated her so deeply. The withdrawals of her entire pension amount happened in March, patriots. This woman stayed in her own home, waiting for the money to be deposited after the so-called cleansing, but nothing ever happened. Day after day, she held on to the hope that her money would come back. But as you can probably guess, it didn't. When she tried to contact the uncle, he promised to deposit the money, but he never followed through. Eventually, he blocked her calls. When she tried reaching out to the boyfriend, he too blocked her. It was then that she went to their houses, only to find they had vanished without a trace. She did what anyone in her shoes would do. She went to the police to open a case. But patriots, here's the shocking part. The case was closed the very next day. Can you believe that? She even suggested to the police that they escalate the case to the Hawks, but they brushed it off, saying the case would be dismissed because she was the one who made the withdrawals herself. Her son tried to talk to the investigating officer, but he was met with indifference. It's an absolute disgrace how this woman was abandoned in her hour of need by the very system meant to protect her. A week ago, she got a call from the investigating officer, who informed her that her case had been transferred to a police station in Northwest. She's losing hope, patriots, and she believes her case is as good as dead. She also recalled how, before being scammed out of her entire pension, she had given the boyfriend 100,000 rand, which he never paid back. In total, this woman was swindled out of 2.5 million rand by this man and his uncle. This is a massive amount, and now at 57 years old, she finds herself in financial ruin. It's truly heartbreaking. When I realized I had been scammed, I was in disbelief. I was shocked and wished it was all just a nightmare. I cried so hard that I didn't eat for 2 weeks. I couldn't sleep, and I just kept crying. Prayer is the only thing that kept me sane, she said. Her life has been turned upside down, and she now finds herself barely surviving financially. She's pushing through, patriots, but the damage these criminals have done is unimaginable. This whole situation is gut-wrenching, and I believe that God will help her overcome this. But patriots, This story is a stark reminder of why we warn people against dating illegal immigrants. It's not out of jealousy, it's because we care. Most of these men don't love South African women. They use them to get what they want. And honestly, I believe these scammers use some form of hypnosis to confuse this woman into making all those withdrawals. Let's not forget, Patriots, she was the one who told these thieves about the total amount of her pension and the exact date it would be deposited. She's not the only one, and sadly, many others are going through the same. Some are getting their payouts and then losing everything in online investment scams. It's a vicious cycle, and we need to protect our people from falling into these traps. Stay vigilant, Patriots. See you soon.